We have another Jackson on our bench today. This one's a very nice one. It's called a JS series, part of the Dinky, D-I-N-K-Y series. Not a very good name for a guitar, but anyway, it's a JS 22, and it says it has a caramelized maple neck. Ooh, ooh. But the fretboard inlays are black shark skin. I don't think they're real shark skin, but they're black shark skin. You can see the reflection there. That gives me a little bit of a problem, not much, but this is the kind of neck that you just can't send. You have to cover everything. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to use the chrome steel covers and then fine them or sand them, whatever it is. But it's caramelized neck, and it's a mahogany body, and it's got a Jackson high output humbucker neck and bridge. Now here's where I get clever. What we have is a score on this side of the guitar, and it looks pretty rotten, and it ruins the whole shape, the style of the guitar just for that. And so we're going to get stuck in. Very first thing we do is get stuck in and get that score, see if we can get the score treated, because this is a matte black guitar, a matte finish guitar, and the score, I scratched it, and I can't get it back to a matte again without tools and equipment and stuff like that I don't have. So we'll let you see where I am now. So what do I do with this? It ruins the look of the guitar. The damage is already done. I can feel the scratches with my finger. So whatever happens, I have to sand this down. But if I sand down too far, I might go down past the polish that's on the wood, which is a deep brown matte. But I don't think I have a choice. So if I go down too far, well, let's see what happens. What I'm going to do now is get a little bowl of water. I'm going to use wet 3000 sandpaper to try to see what that looks like first of all. Okay, so let's see. I've got 3000 and 2500. Are you in the best place? Well, you can't see much more. Let me move you around there. What's the worst thing that could happen? Worst thing that could happen is I go down past the initial top, whatever there is. So let's wet and dry sandpaper. Let's just see what happens. I'm pressing very gently, very gently. Okay, let's make that off and just see where we are. Right. It's helped a bit, so I'm going to continue on, especially down here where the worst is done. Still haven't got past the scratches, but have to remember that this is 3000 grit paper, which is more or less like a polish sandpaper. My videoing was cut short by a phone call. Can't do two things at once. I am getting somewhere, but where am I getting? I'm not sure yet. So I'm going to try 1,000 on it, just to see what happens. 1,500. Okay, I'll surrender to 1,500, just to see if I can get those scratches away. Okay, I think I see some light at the end of the tunnel. No, I'm going to take it apart and do the polishing now. So now that I've sanded that and got it to somewhere close to what I want, not quite, I'm going to now look at the rest of the guitar, because that needed to be looked at first. The rest I'm pretty sure is working. So let's just check the neck on this. Woo, we got an underbow. That probably explains the high action. It's quite high action. It's also not bad action there, so if I bring that down, I think the nut could be brought down as well. Show you another way that you can check your neck straightness, which I may have shown before. Let me put a capo on the first fret. A capo on the first fret and press on close to the last fret, and you can see if there's movement there in the middle, that's how much action you have, and that is an underbow in this case. That way, just a bit more underbow than I like. What's that mark on the side? So we need to tighten up the truss rod a bit to get that underbow away, and then I think we may have to work with a nut to get it better. That also tells a tale too at the end, where the intonators are right up high, so it has some work to be done there. Let's have a listen to it to make sure all the electrics, which I'm pretty sure they are working, but let's have a quick listen. Right, switch on the amp and check this. Come back out a bit. Come back out a bit and check this for looseness. Oops. Switch needs to be cleaned a bit, but as I expected, the electrics are fine. Pickups are slightly low, and we'll have a look inside the Jackson electrics. Only criticism I have is I think they put the screws in too tight and they've bent the plastic a bit, but look how neat that is. Just straightforward neat. Nothing exciting, eh? Just neat and tidy. And that's what I'm going to do first of all. Is wrap these up a little bit, just to stop them making any deeper dings in it, which is the last thing we want, is deep dings. interesting. That's sitting up. That one's sitting up. And that one's down inside. I wonder if that one just needs to be pushed down again. Let me just give it a little tap to see. It does, yes. Just sitting up through use over the years. Now we're ready to start polishing again. Just the top. Okay, this is going to take an hour or more of sanding by hand. And so I'm not going to video it and speed it up. I'm just going to come back to you whenever I've done it. All right? That's that close to what I want. And you can see it's almost all glossy on the top. And it's removed that scratch and left it pretty nice. I'll probably leave this to the morning now because that was a good hour and my hand's sore. And I'll leave it to the morning, have another look at it again. It was made a little bit harder because they put some sort of lacquer coating on it and it wasn't quite even. It was rippled a bit. So, but it looks great now and I'm happy with it. Yes, the lighting's all over the show and this video's all over the show too. Just keeping this open for a second to let you see what I've done. I put a small strip of maple in there to bring the block back. And I put a small strip of just ordinary wood there to lock it in position. Anybody wants to ever unlock it, they can just pull out the two strips. But the reason why I put a piece of maple in the front is because of this. Whenever you put that in, and it didn't have the strip of maple, those holes were there. So this little strip in the front tidies everything up. And I don't need to color these or anything like that there. So I'm just going to put this all back together now. Anyway, that's my gurn over. Well, I have to say that's better than it was, but it's not what I would call great. If you look closely at it, you see scratches. Tiny, tiny, tiny scratches, but it looks a lot better. See how close I was to the surface, sanding away those scratches, and there are still scratches there. Okay, well, we'll move on. Well, I always like to learn something whenever I'm doing a guitar, and I've learned that I will never, ever, ever buy a guitar with a matte finish, because the slightest scratch on a matte finish and you can't do anything about it. Let me just show you what I mean. Oh, there's a tiny scratch there, just you can't even see it. But there's nothing you can do about it. You polish that and it'll turn glossy. And if you want to keep a matte guitar, then you're going to have to wrap it up in cotton wool, because you will get scratches on a guitar. One of the problems I had with it is that the finish they put on it, they did put a finish on it, maybe a tinted gloss, but they didn't do it what you would call really high quality. And if you look closely, there's little pot marks in it. Well, barely perceptible, but you have to polish past those to get it shiny. But it's looking better than it was. Said that already. Now, I'm going to see if I can do anything to get this neck straightened. And after that, I'm going to come back to you when it's all done. It's that size. Right, okay. Right, so there was no tension on it. Remember I tapped it? Let's tap it now. No rattling, no rattling. Let's just see if it's taken that. Yep, perfect. That's a dead straight neck. So all it needed was a little touch of it. So I'll come back to you when it's ready to play. Interestingly, I wasn't expecting to have any fret leveling to be done, but as I checked it, I noticed there's fret leveling there, and a whole lot of them down there aren't leveled properly. But that adds another little issue, because now I'm going to have to tape off the whole fretboard, because I can't use my normal fret leveling tool, because it will dirty that maple colored, textured, whatever it is, and it might be hard to get off, and I don't know what this shark skin thing will do, so I'll have to tape off the whole neck before I fret level. But I'm not going to show you that now. I just wanted to have a little moan, let you tell you what I was having to do. Well, that was a pain, but at least I can now use the other tools to level it. I use 600, 600, 400, right, okay. It's not an old guitar, so it doesn't need much in the way of oil. I'm just doing it out of force of habit. But it doesn't do it any harm. Okay, and now we're going to put the strings on it. I'm sure the intonation's close, but I'm going to check it anyway, and then we'll come back and play it. Because I lied to you, I said I was going to just come back to you and play it. But I did the neck in front of you. Alright, ciao. It didn't quite go as I planned, but I'm ready now. What I had to do is I had to take, remember I put a sliver of wood there and I put a chunk of wood back there. Well, I had to take that sliver of wood away and put in a slightly thinner one because this metal wasn't pressing up against the screws. Now that it's pressing up against the screws, I have even better action. And also, when I looked at it, the strings had the same problem as the previous guitar, where the E string was coming off the end, just about there. All I had to do with this, because it's properly made, is loosen the strings, twist the neck a bit, tighten the strings again, and it brought it into line. So now I'm going to play you a tune. A tune. Okay, this guitar made me work today. I tell you, it made me work. Because I forgot to check the intonations, so it was all out, and you notice now the bottom is more like it should be. Also, when I checked the intonation, I forgot that the intonators were very high, so I brought them all down, which meant I had to retune them again. But we've ended up with excellent action, really good action. And then I found out the pickups are too high because the action was so low. But we have star time action on this. Everything in tune still. Now don't expect miracles from me because I'm not a guitar player. But never will I ever buy a matte guitar. The slightest scratch and you're up the creek. So the front is high gloss and the back is matte. Properly done, I think a proper polisher could have brought it all up the gloss, but I don't think it needs it. But it's sounding well. Favorite chord sounds good on it too. If I could only play it. Okay, it's going back to its daddy now. The only thing I might do is just tighten up that one there because it seemed to fall out of tune fairly quickly. Well, not fairly quickly, but more than it should do. Anyway. Okay, bye-bye. Bye.